Should Nick Walker get a special invite to the Olympia, or should he have to earn it? Dave Palumbo here with an RxMuscle rant. A lot of people have been asking the question. We posed it on Heavy Muscle Radio earlier this week. Should Nick Walker be given a special invite to the Olympia? Obviously 2024. And the initial response by most people on the Instagram poll we put up was no, which was kind of surprising to me. Then as the days seem to have gone on and on and on, I see that the preponderances of yes have kind of surpassed the no's. A lot of people want to know what my opinion is on this, and I think that the special invite was really designed for special circumstances. And this certainly would qualify as a special circumstance. I mean, I don't know how bad Nick Walker's hamstring tear is, and I guess, you know, as we progress over the next couple of weeks, we'll find out exactly, you know, how bad it is. If he's back to training pretty quickly and, you know, he's maybe going to compete at the Arnold, I mean, then this is a moot point. If, however, you know, this is something that's going to take a prolonged recovery period where he's just not going to be able to train his legs for months at a time, which I don't necessarily think that that's the case, then I would certainly think that the special invite would apply to Nick Walker. So he can prepare the whole year, make the improvements he needs once that leg feels better, and then obviously not have to worry about, you know, requalifying at a last-minute show. Some people think that, you know, he should be given no special treatment, that he should have to be doing maybe a show like the Tampa Pro or something that's, you know, right before the Olympia to requalify and then do it. And you know what? We might see Nick do that anyway, because Nick is not one of these guys who's shy about competing. However, you know, at this point, he's got nothing to prove. He's won the Arnold Classic. You know, he's placed top 3 at the Olympia. He's an upper echelon guy. His goal at this point is to win the Olympia. Obviously, the best bet would be to take as much time as possible, especially given the fact that the Olympia is a month earlier in 24 to prepare for it. So in other words, have the fullest off season that he can and then diet down and just do the Olympia. If that's his strategy, which it seems like it probably is, because I think that's what he was going to originally do. That's what he did for this past Olympia. Then the special invite certainly would be warranted if he applied for it. The question is, at his career point, where he's so young still and he's so fresh, I mean, if he can get on that Arnold Classic stage, I'm sure he's itching to compete. I mean, here's a guy who potentially could have won the Olympia this year. I know he was very upset. I talked to him at the Olympia, talked to his parents. You know, this is something that he wanted really bad. And, you know, look, stuff happens to everyone. It's a sport. You can get injured at any time. Kevin Levrone tore his pec after, you know, placing second at his first Olympia. Flex Wheeler got into a car accident, sidelined him for almost a year, at least at his best. Branch Warren tore a quad. Victor Martinez tore a patella tendon. So, I mean, there have been a lot of top-level guys that have gotten hurt and missed out. So the question is, will Nick Walker want to come back and show everyone, hey, I'm still as good as ever, and I am going to dominate this 2024 season, maybe do the Arnold, win that, and then prepare for the Olympia? I don't know. I don't know what his strategy is. I don't know if he knows what his strategy is yet, because he's probably playing it day by day to see how that hamstring, you know, improves and when he's able to actually go back to the gym. You know, a hamstring tear looks really bad when it first happens, but it's not like something that needs to be surgically fixed. It's just really painful. It's hard to walk on it. That's why he was being wheeled around in a wheelchair at the Olympia. I'm sure he's back on his feet by now. And, you know, the healing process is pretty quick once that initial swelling, blood under the skin, and all that stuff goes away. And that could take a couple months before the body completely cleans all that stuff up. Matter of fact, I had told him one of the things that you should absolutely do whenever you tear even the smallest of muscle in your legs, when you have big legs, is wear a compression stocking from the toes all the way up to his hip. Now, if you tore something a little lower down, you might just go up to the knee, because you don't want all that fluid, okay, going down to the foot, which is what it's going to do, because gravity is going to pull it down there. Because then what happens is you can get what's called a stasis infection. In other words, from all that stagnant blood there, you actually get an infection because the circulation is not good there. So by wearing a compression stocking, that will absolutely help the body speed up the reabsorption of all that dead blood and dead cells and all the other junk that's in there from the injury that invariably will go down to the lower leg. The question still remains, what is the most important use of the special invite? And in this situation, if Nick wanted it, I would want to see him get it, because I want to see him on that Olympia stage. But to be honest, he probably doesn't need it, and he probably could compete easily right before the Olympia or possibly the Arnold. I don't know how bad his hamstring is. So he doesn't really need it, but if it came down to the fact that, hey, you know what, this hamstring is not responding the way I thought it was, I really didn't have enough time, I don't want to have to push a show a month or two before the Olympia to qualify, I'd really like that special invite, then it would be appropriate to give it to him. I think he's more than proved himself worthy, and obviously that's, like I think Chad Nichols pointed it out in the comments on our post on Instagram, that's what it was designed for. However, once again, I understand both sides of the story, because if you give it to him, then why wouldn't you give it to other people? Lee Priest brought up a good point. Why not give it to all the guys who couldn't get over here, who qualified for the Olympia but couldn't get visas? Bayros Tabani comes to mind as one person, Nathan Diasha. Why not give them a special invite to next year's Olympia? They just couldn't get here this year for whatever visa problems they had. And that wasn't necessarily their fault. It just was bad luck. So you get on slippery ground when you start handing out these special invites. And that would be certainly a warranted case. I mean, Nathan more than deserved going to the Olympia. I mean, how many years in a row has now he missed out because of visa issues? So it's tough. It's a tough decision, and I know the IFBB doesn't want to hand out these special invites. I know Tyler Mannion had made a statement, I think it was last year, that we're not going to be handing these things out as easily as we have in the past, and that was his statement. And so I have to imagine it would be a special case for Nick, but once again, I'm not against it, only because of what he's accomplished. It's like I'm not against giving one to Kai Green. Even though he didn't win the Olympia, he still has accomplished so much in the sport that it would warrant it, just like we weren't against it when they gave Levroni a special invite or Flex Wheeler a special invite. So, and Big Ramy got that one year, and I thought he should have qualified for that, and he wound up winning the Olympia. So it's a slippery slope. Let me know your opinions in the comments below, and tell me what you think. Should Nick Walker get a special invite to the Olympia, or should he have to earn it? Dave Palumbo with an RxMuscle rant.